Chapter 2, Test Review, Part 1. When we want to find the slope of the line through each pair of points, that's where we need the slope formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So, you see y2 is right here, 8. Minus y1 is 1 over x2 is this 2, minus x1 is this 11. 8 minus 1 is 7. 2 minus 11 is negative 9. Always reduce your fractions, but that's already reduced. There's your slope. So then number 2, we do the same thing. y2 minus y1, notice it's minus negative there, over x2 minus x1. Minus negative is going to add the opposite. Negative 10 plus 17 is 7. Negative 15 minus 12 is negative 29. We would reduce it if we had to, but that's already reduced. There's your slope. Number 3, find the slope. Well, we're in mx plus b form, so that number actually is the slope, 7/3. Likewise over here, negative 5/4. Moving on, if you're looking at a picture, you have to remember that slope is rise over run. So what we do is we choose 2 points. And what I would highly recommend you do is start from the left side. Start from the one on the left, and you're going to count rise. So up 1, 2, and over 1. So up 2 and right 1. Your slope is 2 over 1, which reduces to 2. So then the next one, if you start here and go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1, 2 to get to this point, up 4 and right 2, your slope is also 2. Sketch the graph of the line. Well, we're in mx plus b form, so that's where we start at this number 3. That's the y-intercept. So make sure you're on the y, not the x. And then here's your slope. Up 1, right 2 puts me right there. Up 1, right 2. Or reverse the pattern, down 1 and left 2, down 1 and left 2, down 1 and left 2. We're going to have a line that looks like this. Now remember what we've drawn. We've drawn a picture of all of the solutions to that equation. That's what we draw. Next one's not in slope-intercept form, so let's get it there. I'm going to try to get y by itself, so let's subtract the 2x. I have negative y equals negative 2x plus 3. And then let's divide by negative 1 to get y truly by itself. Y equals, you've got negative 2 divided by negative 1 is positive 2. And you've got 3 divided by negative 1 is minus 3. Y equals 2x minus 3. So minus 3, that's the y-intercept, negative 3. All right, there. I can't hit it. Oh, gosh. And then your slope is 2, so you can think of it as a fraction. It's 2 over 1. We go up 2 and right 1, up 2 and right 1, up 2 and right 1. Or down 2 and left 1. We've got some line that looks something like this. And again, when we draw a picture like this, when we draw a graph, we're drawing all of the solutions. Write the slope-intercept form of the equation. So remember, slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. We want to get y by itself, and we've already done this in a previous problem, but let's move stuff around so we can get y by itself. Subtract 11x, 2y equals negative 11x plus 12. And then divide by this 2. When you divide by 2, you get y by itself equals, and then remember, you got to divide everything by 2. So negative 11 over 2 is a fraction. That's okay. And 12 over 2 is going to be 6 plus 6. Number 10, they're giving you the slope, which is m, and the y-intercept, which is b. So they're giving you these two numbers right here. We should be able to just write the equation. Y equals negative 1x plus 1. Now, of course, we don't really say negative 1x. We would reduce that. We would say y equals negative x plus 1. Now, in general, when we see a problem like any of these, we've got a set of steps. And so we would go step 1, find the slope. And step 2, we want to write point slope form. And then step 3 is convert to whatever they're asking us to do. So step 1, find slope. Step 2, write point slope form. And step 3, convert. So step 1, find the slope. Well, that's easy in this case because that's this right here. That's your m number. So we go to step 2. Step 2 says write point slope form. Well, remember, point slope form is y minus the y number equals m times x minus the x number. That's what point slope form looks like. So we would go over here and we would say y minus the y number is 4 equals our m number is 9 times x minus the x number is also 4. Looks like that. That's point slope form. Then we can convert to whatever they ask us to do. And in this case, they wanted slope-intercept form. You look back at the directions. Slope-intercept form. So we know we want to get rid of these parentheses here. Distribute the 9. We have y minus 4 equals 9x minus 36. And then add the 4 to get y by itself. Y equals 9x. And negative 36 plus 4 is negative 32. Done. So number 12, we follow the same steps. Step 1, find the slope. We've got 2 points, so we should have to do the slope formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So this is minus up here. That's going to be plus. Add the opposite. 1 plus 4 is 5. And then on the bottom, same thing, add the opposite. Negative 2 plus 4 is positive 2. That's the slope 5/2. So then we write the point slope form. Step 2 says write point slope form. We have 2 points that we could use, but I'll usually pick the one that's, has lower numbers or looks easier, and I'll ignore the other one. So I'm going to use the point negative 2, 1 for my point slope form. I say y minus the y number equals m times x minus the x number. I just remember minus negative. We've got minus negative 2 there. So I said plus 2. Now, I gave you kind of 2 choices in class. I said if you're good at fractions, you're going to go ahead and distribute that 5/2. But those of you that aren't good with the fractions, I gave you a different option. And that's what we're going to do here. We said, let's multiply both sides by 2 so we can cancel out that fraction. And so doing that, multiplying by 2 on the left side, you'd have to distribute the 2. You get 2y minus 2, because we distribute here. And then on the right side, you distribute the 5. You got 5x plus 10. Now, isolate the y. Step 3, convert. That's what we're trying to do, right? Convert. So let's add this 2 over. See, 2y equals 5x plus 12. And then we divide by 2. And we will see y equals, if you divide by 2 here, you're going to have a fraction, 5/2. Don't forget your x. And then 12 over 2 is plus 6. There we go. Slope-intercept form. 13 and 14, we're following the same steps. And step 1 says find the slope. You've got to pay really close attention to this word, parallel. When we talk about parallel lines, we know parallel lines always have the same slope. So the line that they gave me has a slope of 8/3. And since we're talking about some line that's parallel to that, then we know that our slope will also be 8/3. That's our slope. So we go to step 2, point slope form. Y minus the y number equals slope times x minus the x number. Now again, Those of you that are good with fractions can just distribute the 8/3. That 0 makes it pretty easy anyway. But I'm going to pretend like none of us are good with fractions. And let's multiply by 3 just to cancel out that. Okay. I see 3y plus 15 equals, and we distribute the 8 and get 8x minus 0, or plus 0, either way you want to look at it. We need to ISO the variable, ISO the y. So we subtract 15. 3y equals 8x minus 15. And then we would divide by this 3. Y by itself equals, we're dividing here, we get a fraction, 8/3 x, and we divide here, negative 15 over 3 is minus 5. Perpendicular. Okay, when we talk about perpendicular, it's not the same slope. So we see this line has a slope of 1, and if this is your slope, then perpendicular looks like this. They're definitely not the same. There's something called opposite reciprocals. So typically you're going to see a fraction, and so then the opposite reciprocal is going to be flip the fraction and change the sign. Those two things are opposite reciprocals. But in this case, we've got a slope of 1. If you think of it as a fraction, that's 1 over 1. Well, when we take the reciprocal, we're still going to have 1 over 1. We just need to change the sign here. And so our slope, our perpendicular slope, will be negative 1. M equals negative 1. Step 2, point slope form. Y minus the y number equals our slope, negative 1, times x minus the x number. Step 3, convert. So remember, we still want slope-intercept form. We're going to distribute this negative 1. Y minus 2 equals negative x plus 3. Remember, we don't say negative 1x. We would reduce it to negative x. Add the 2 over. Y equals negative x plus 5. Next, write the standard form. Remember, standard form is ax plus by equals c. That's standard form. And the capital letters should remind you that we don't want to see fractions or decimals. But also something else you have to remember is that the first number can't be negative. So a couple of extra things you have to remember here. So what I would do in this first problem, in problem 15, is we can multiply everything by 5 to cancel out that fraction. All right, and make sure you get everything, multiply everything, and it's going to cancel out here, that's fine, but it won't cancel out anywhere else, it looks like. So I've got 5y equals negative 7x minus 20. Make sure you get everything by 5. Now I want to add 7x, so I can get my variables over on the left side. I've got 7x plus 5y equals negative 20. And there's standard form. I don't see any fractions. The first number is positive. Looking good. The next one, if you do the same thing, let's multiply by 3 to get rid of that fraction. We'd have 3y equals 1x, or just x plus 3. And then we can subtract the x over to get my variables on the left side. I have negative x plus 3y equals 3. And that looks like standard form, but remember, we're not allowed to have that first number be negative. So all I'm going to do is multiply by negative 1, and change all the signs. So it doesn't even really look like you did anything, just change all the signs. X minus 3y equals negative 3. There you go.